Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster, and this is part, I believe, 3 of What If Asta was Kratos' apostle. Now, when we last left off, Asta just finished up his baptism and got his new room. Now we head over to where he wakes up and gets the typical tour from Magna for the Black Bull's hideout and the explanation that the Black Bull's hideout tends to shift its rooms around and such. Once they get to the beast room, though, the beasts in there are bowing their heads, whimpering. Magna's confused about why they're acting like this all of a sudden, but doesn't really pay it any mind considering he's finding it nice not having them growl and snarl at him through the cage, and just moves on till they get to where they meet Noelle. Obviously, the same does happen in canon, and Asta is just not saying anything after the fact that Noelle quit the Black Bulls, though he's thinking, what exactly would cause someone to go through all the effort of getting into a Magic Knight squad just to quit? Doesn't make sense. So he just puts it in the back of his head for right now and goes about doing his chores, cleaning and all that, doing some training, and walking around, which is when he starts to hear some crashing sounds. When he went go see, it was Noelle training. At, when he saw this, he wanted to take a closer look, but ended up snapping a twig, alerting her, obviously causing her to have her magic run wild. Once that happens, Asta had enough sense, or at least this version of him, his instincts told him to run. And he got out of there before he got blasted with some of the water magic that was just running wild. Black Bulls came out, and Asta got out of the bush after they were discussing about what to do about it. Yami looked at Asta and told him to deal with this. Once he took a look, he asked Finral to open a portal for him to jump through to fall from above the raging magic. Finral just states, "Are you insane? What exactly is your plan?" Also just looks at him and says, "I'm gonna cut it with this," pulling out the Demon Slayer sword, and then use this, pulling out one of the Chaos Blades with the chain wrapping around his forearm. Finral just states, "Fine, just make sure you don't hurt yourself." Once he makes the portal, Asa jumps into it, falling from above the raging magic, quickly using the Demon Slayer sword to cut through it and putting it back in the grimoire. Then he uses the Chaos Blade to extend his reach to wrap the chain around Noelle and pull her towards him. Undoing the chain while falling, he looks around to see where exactly he's at in regards to where the hideout is. Once he spots it, he hurries up and chucks the blade right at the hideout, stabbing it into the wall. Then using the chain, controlling it a tiny bit to reel him in, which he more or less just kind of swings down back to the ground, sliding on it on landing and putting Noelle down. Noelle was expecting to get yelled at and berated for not being able to control her magic, but the same still happens as in canon, where Asta extends his hand saying that that was incredible, and that with the other Black Bulls stating that she belongs there, that they're all a bunch of misfits. She's happy now, and she gets her Black Bull's robe back along with becoming friends with everyone. After that, and some time passed, Yami and Magna still leave to go to their to go off to their gambling session with the chief of Saucy Village, with leaves Asta just saying that he's bored and asking what exactly are they going to do. But no, but Vanessa just states that they don't do much until they have a mission to get done, whether it be a request from a village or such, or orders from the Wizard King or any other higher ups. Explaining the typical roles: escort missions, uh, exterminations of beasts, or fighting off enemy nations and such. Hmm. As he thought, so he more or less gets the gist. Once he was feeding the beasts, obviously Magna and Yami come back being naked from losing all of their clothes in their gambling session. Then telling Noelle and Asta that they're going to exterminate some bulls. Asta's okay with this, but Noelle isn't quite happy. Like in canon, Asta and Noelle still have to ride Magna's crazy cyclone to her to Noelle's discomfort. As they're flying, she does still knock Asta off, though this time he's able to use uh, the chaos blades to launch the chain and grab onto the broom. With Magna yelling, "Are you insane?" Asta just stating, "I'm not the one who knocked me off." With Noelle just huffing. Asta climbs up the chain and gets back on. And we just go to where they just start attacking the boars. Asta, using some of the Spartan wrath he has, ends up doing the job pretty well and pretty quickly. Though this is the first time Noelle and Magna are noticing Asta's skin is getting paler. Once all the boars are done, Asta stacks them on top of his shoulders, and as they're going to the village, Magna asks, "Hey, Asta, what's with those weird markings and the fact that your skin's paler now?" Asta's not sure what to say and just states, "These markings just came on me whenever I grabbed my grimoire at the grimoire ceremony. So it's part of that. The more I use the power that strengthens my body, it causes my eyes to turn red and my skin to get more paler and paler till it can actually turn pure, almost pure white." And I was like, "Are you serious? What kind of power is that?" Asta just replies with, "It's something that uses, like, rage, more or less righteous rage, as a power source, I guess you can say." Magna just remarks, "Well, that sounds pretty awesome. Real, sounds like a real man's, sounds like the strength of a real man." But Noelle just saying, "Well, it looks kind of odd to see someone turn pale like that." Asta just nervously smiling, thinking, "But you should see my, well, I guess you call him my boss. He's way paler than me right now." And he's, of course, talking about Kratos. More or less, being an apostle of a god basically means that the god's technically your boss. So once they get to the village, they notice the fog, and Magna tells him to cut the fog. Us, there's more action now, and does get a small bit of an intelligence boost to use common sense more often, so he starts hacking and slashing until they get to the area where all the citizens of the village are being held at icicle point. Basically, Magna, like in Cannon, goes in and destroys it with his scatter shot explosion. As in Cannon, the mage just remarks that they're just wasting his time and getting him off schedule, obviously, and stating that these people are nothing but wild beasts that need to be culled. After hearing that, Asta's marks and eyes began to glow a bit. And when he said that he just needs to get rid of them as along with you, he fires a large iceberg attack. But this time, Asta's so frickin' pissed that it's fueling the Spartan's rage even more, like sticking it into 11th gear. He full on grabs the icicle with one hand, sliding back a bit but stopping it, and then with a single thrust throws it back at the mages, forcing them to dodge. Asta just stands there saying, "You are going to pay for that." When the maids asked, "And what would that be?" as he points at the chief of Saucy Village's body. The ice mage that led them says, "Oh, him. Well, he was insignificant." Asta pulls out his demon slayer sword and the chaos blade, one of them. As they begin to rain icicles, Asta focused enough to use his sword to deflect and destroy icicles, the Demon Slayer sword, while using the Chaos Blade, fully utilizing the chain to spin it around to make more or less a movable shield. He didn't he didn't need his own comrades to be depowered from his shield releasing anti-magic, so he had to stick with this for now. As he swung it around, the icicles just shattered. Like in canon, Noelle does still get her sea dragon's lair, and, and Asta is able to blitz through, full on furious. The mage uses his ice magic to try to stab Asta in the gut, but the Spartan wrath is reinforcing his body more and more, and all he's doing is adding more fuel to the rage fire. It didn't pierce him, and now leaving Asta an opening to literally just punch the ice, shattering it. Blitzing towards the mage, he strikes him, thinking that it was actually him, but instead a magic clone. The ice mage firing again at Asta, he uses the sword to deflect and try to get the mage, though when he tried to use the chaos blade at a mid distance to attack him, he got blindsided by one of the other mage's attacks. He was furious, saying, "You're not getting away with this." With Magna saying, "He's right," throwing a scatter shot. The mages hurried up and blocked most the ones that were coming at them, though there were still some left that were going toward Asta. Asta was able on instinct to reflect it back at them and hitting them, though the same one as in canon still ends up getting away. And the other mages are just tied up in flame magic binding their magic. While they're while they're setting the mages up one by one against the wall, Asta takes a look at himself and sees that he's as pale white as you see in the thumbnail. He even takes off his shirt to check, with Magnus saying, "Jeez, kid, you said you get paler and your eyes redder, but dang, didn't know it'd go this far. Are you gonna be okay?" Noel saying, "I really hope you don't stay like that forever. It's kind of odd." Asta just says, "Don't worry, I practiced with this plenty of times before the Magic Night exam. I just need some time for my skin color to and my eye color to turn back." Once they prop him up, Magnus still says that they're going to bring him to the capital for interrogation once his magic recovers. Though the maid says that they won't get anything out of them doing a suicide with a magic item in his body, killing all three of them. The chief is buried, and they're bummed out that they didn't get any information about what they were doing here and why they were going so far as to attempt to kill all of the villagers. Though, same as in canon, Nero still pecks Asta with the magic stone that pisses Asta off, getting it from Nero, saying that you shouldn't steal things, with the grandson of the chief saying that it's okay and that they can think of it as payment. Once they get back to the hideout, Yami's laughing at Asta for how pale he is, and some of the other Black Bulls are just staring at him, a little confused, and but also trying not to laugh. Obviously, Jeremy's offering him food, saying, "You look so pale, you need something to eat." Asta just says, "This just happens whenever I use my strength boost for too long. Either that or when someone pisses me off too much." When Yami explained, "Pisses you off? What the hell happened?" as they give their report to Yami. As in canon, Magnus says that the old man wouldn't want them to be moping around about his death, laughing. Also smirks and just heads back to bed, stating, "I'm gonna go to bed now. But hopefully by the time I get up, my skin and eye color will be back." But once he leaves, Joe says, "Okay, that kid is kind of weird with that trait of his." And all the Black Bulls just nod, saying, "Mm-hmm." But Yami chimes in, saying, "Yeah, but it's interesting." But Magnus saying, "No doubt. He took a huge ice magic attack, gripped it with his bare hands, and threw it back at the mages." Yami looks at him, saying, "That's pretty insane." Man, it sounds like our new member has some interesting tricks. We continue over to where they get the report to where Asta and such get the report about their new mission. Well, they get the report and everything about their getting a star and such from saving Sashi Village, which they are obviously excited for. And Asta then continues asking, "Is this really? This is a lot of money." With Vanessa stating that they can buy all kinds of things with it, as she offers to bring them to the black market. They agree, so Vanessa is bringing Asta and Noel to the black market now. Like, they're surprised to know that this place is just here, right in the middle of the capital. they look around with haha guys, still jealous of Asta being in the same squad as Vanessa and Noelle. And I believe you see Magna gambling away all of his earnings again. And we just get to where the cloud magic thief snags the woman's bag full of money as they begin to, as Asta begins to chase them. Though not long after exiting the black market, Asta, while still near the ground, uses a chaos blade to stab through his cloud, causing him to fall, then using the chain to wrap him up. As he tries to struggle and use his magic, he finds that he can't, with Asta remarking as he tightens the chain, "Sorry, pal, but while you're wrapped up in this, you ain't using your magic." He tries to pull his knife, though when he wants to stab Asta, he just gets punched in the face and knocked out. Which is when Haha gets there stating, "Oh, come on!" With Asta saying, "Look, if you want him, you can have him." And handing him over to the Haha guy, Seke, as he just drives off. Kind of depressed that he didn't get anything from that, with Asta returning the money to the old woman. After that, the old woman is revealed to be the Wizard King, who remarks, "Very interesting. Anti-magic, but yet some other form of power that seems to strengthen his body, and that odd chain weapon. Very useful," as he smirks, smiling. Now, this will be the end of part 3 of What If Asta Was Kratos' Apostle. I do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell for updates and uploads of future what ifs, as well as the what if videos themselves. Also, do make sure to keep notice on the community tab and such for planned events and such. So, yes, I do hope you enjoyed, and see you later.